Hey everybody, welcome to EMAEN Effectively Making a Noise. My name is Cheryl Secrest, and today will be our last Bible story reading from the World's Bible Story Library for this year. And this will be the end of Volume 4. Next year we'll be starting Volume 5. And today's story is Solomon Prays for Wisdom and Understanding, coming from 1 Kings chapter 3, verses 1 through 28. Solomon's reign began well, because he sought God's favor and blessing in all that he did. Solomon loved the Lord and sought to obey God's commandments as his father David had done before him. But because no house had yet been built for the name of the Lord, Solomon and the people were offering sacrifices and burning incense at certain high places. Soon after he became king, Solomon went to the great high place at Gibeon and offered 1,000 burnt offerings, and burnt offerings are the best of flock or crop burned on altar for God, to God upon the great altar which stood there. That night, when Solomon lay down to sleep at Gibeon, the Lord appeared to him in a dream, and God said to his servant, "Ask what I shall give you." Then Solomon said to the Lord, "You showed your servant David, my father, great kindness, because he walked before you in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart. And you kept for him this great kindness, and gave him a son to sit on his throne. And now, O Lord my God, you have made your servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. I do not know how to go out or come in, and your servant is in the midst of your people whom you have chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered or counted for multitude. Give your servant therefore an understanding heart to judge your people, so that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this, your so great a people?" It pleased the Lord that Solomon had prayed in this humble and earnest fashion. God heard Solomon's prayer and said to him, "Because you have asked this thing, and have not asked for long life for yourself, or asked for riches, or the life of your enemies, but have asked for understanding to discern between good and bad, behold, I will do according to your words. Lo, I will give you a wise and understanding heart, so that there will have been none like you before you, and there shall arise none like you after you. And I will also give you the things which you did not ask for, both riches and honor, so that there will not be any among the kings like you all your life. And if you walk in my ways and keep my statutes meaning laws, and my commandments, as your father David did, then I will lengthen your days." When Solomon awoke, he knew that the Lord had spoken to him in a dream. Then he arose and went back to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. He offered up burnt offerings and peace offerings to God, and made a great feast for all his servants. Very soon, King Solomon had a special opportunity to make use of the wisdom and understanding which God had promised him. Two women came before the king, each the mother of a newborn baby, and asked the king to judge their case. One of the women told this story. She said, "This woman and I live in the same house, and I gave birth to a child when she was living there. 3 days later, this woman also bore a child, and we were alone in the house. And this woman's child died in the night, because she lay on it. And she arose at midnight, and took my son from beside me while I was asleep, and laid it in her bosom, which is the chest, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I arose in the morning to nurse my child, behold, it was dead. But when I examined it closely in the morning, behold, it was not my son that I had born." But the other woman told a different story. She said to the first woman, "No, the living child is my son, and the dead child is your son." But the first woman said, "No, the dead child is your son, and the living child is my son." Thus they spoke before King Solomon. Then the king said to the disputing women, "One of you says, This is my son that lives, and your son is dead. And the other says, No, but your son is dead, and my son is the one that is alive. And the king said to one of his servants, Bring me a sword. And a sword was brought before the king. And Solomon said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. Then the woman to whom the living child belonged said to the king, For she yearned for her child. O my lord, give her the living child, and in no way harm it. But the deceitful woman, which is not truthful and lying, whose child was dead, said, Let it be neither mine nor yours. Divide it. Then the wise King Solomon answered and said, Give the living child to the first woman, and in no way harm it. She is the child's mother. And all the people of Israel heard of the judgment which the king had given, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do justice. That is the end of our story today. I hope you guys have a safe and happy new year. May God bless you all. Continue listening next year, which is next week. And I hope all y'all have a blessed day. Peace.